Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening, everyone. You are once again welcome here on the awareness-raising platform in the Spotlight International News, following what happened in Israel in the last 24 hours. The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, who still doesn't understand anything, come out of his silence and come to send a very, very strong message. And this message, which is intended for his adversaries and political enemies, it is a message that upsets the populations, Israelis. The populations ask when this will end affair, even though Israel has declared that they are agree with the proposal of Donald Trump's call to end the war with Palestine. But this new statement that Benjamin Netanyahu just did it's a real shock everything. It mixes everything and it will make resume in the most beautiful way the conflict. All fronts will reactivate despite the shooting that took place today, September 8, 2025, in the outskirts of Jerusalem. So what is Benjamin Netanyahu had to say? Young ladies and gentlemen, within the framework of this video conferencing, this is what hot and steamy news that let's talk. But before we continue, I humbly ask you to share video conferencing. It is necessary to put lots of likes. Always remember not to leave your different opinions in comment. Let's go into the depths. So, attacks like the one that took place today, so like the fusillade, do not weaken, not Israel. They only reinforce the determination of the authorities. Here is the summary of the statement that was made by Benjamin Netanyahu. These attacks, like the one that took place today, September 8, 2025, do not weaken Israel. On the contrary, it only strengthens the determination of the authorities Israeli. Benjamin Netanyahu once clearly say that given what happened past, he will go even further. So all those who were ready to end, he certainly rebels, he rewinds because it hurt him. And many observers wonder, is Benjamin Netanyahu in thinking about his suffering population? Does he notice that America cannot continue to do so support forever? Because America, even in terms of military equipment, America is starting to get short crucial in dire need. Is Benjamin Netanyahu in noticing that he opened several fronts at once and Israel not being a power as such, It's America that is behind Israel. So, the statement, the quintessence of the Netanyahu statement, he said this. This is the speech he had to make after the Jerusalem rocket attack, which made so dead. He says this. He says, I wanted to say very clearly, these murders, these attacks in all areas, we do not weaken. They only strengthen us. They don't only strengthen, I was going to say, our determination to accomplish tasks fixed both in Gaza and in Judea and in Samaria, everywhere. So it is from a firm time that Netanyahu spoke to the press Israeli. Yes, even before presenting his condolences, while the Israeli people are living in terror, in a total panic, while the Israelis are living the consequences of the actions taken by the Israeli authorities abroad. And the Israelis wonder, when is it over? Here is Iran too, whose supreme guide, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, announced its population to reserve stocks. What are they doing? Prepare. What is Iran preparing? Yemen's tools struck this airport. Yemen's tools are in. What else are you preparing? The population is in a state of total psychosis. A glimmer of hope had begun to come when Donald Trump insisted to say, well, we have to put an end to this matter. And then the authorities, Israelis, accepted. We saw a statement from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, an Israeli, who clearly said that, so, Israel accepted the proposal of Netanyahu, and at least of Donald Trump. But if after that it is the Prime Minister, the head of the executive, the boss himself who comes out to say all this, it doesn't tell us, does not weaken. The tasks that we have settled in Gaza, Judea, Samaria, and everywhere, we will accomplish them. But listen, it calls into question the recent statement by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. This means that we are still far from an agreement peace. That's very clear. And so the first Israeli minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he also presented his condolences to the families of the victims, and he wished a speedy recovery to the wounded. But the question is how the injured will have a prompt recovery while the injured are still in terror of the wait. such acts? How the wounded wonder, can they even be cured? And so Netanyahu indicated that the intelligence services had prevented hundreds of attacks this year, but that today's one did not have. Could be arrested. He himself recognizes it. There are several attacks that had been prepared, hundreds that the intelligence services were able to stop. Now, why don't they couldn't stop today's attack? Well, him making this statement, it's a way of reassuring them people like that. Don't worry, no, he always prepares. We always go to outwit. It's a way of showing the international community that Israel is strong. Israel has a strength. Its intelligence service is powerful. But that's where it clicks. This is also where he forgets that in saying that this time they could not stop it, it exposes the weaknesses of the Israeli secret services. It means to say that the enemies were able to divert and now know how to divert the secret services and carry out strikes without Israel. The services Israeli secrets do not realize it account. This is the example of the airport who was affected. We are talking about the airport. This is an example of a stop bus that was hit. How they made to not know it. And it is this little part that continues to create gray areas, doubts both skeptical and Cartesian in the head and in the thoughts of the populations, Israelis. So, Benjamin Netanyahu therefore promised to find the accomplices of the perpetrators and those who supported them and take even more severe measures. So, here's obviously what he got to say. In summary, he said this. He says, we are fighting against the terrorism, against the terrorist regime of tools, Iran, which supports everyone, Gaza, Lebanon, with Hezbollah everywhere the areas. We do not weaken in our struggle. We will not weaken, no. We will act. We are acting concretely and will achieve all our goals. Here's what he said. So he's targeting Iran, and that means that the Kamelil already knew something was going to happen, maybe happen, and that Iran and Israel would attempt to act accordingly of retaliation. Whatever happens, we will continue to follow this news, everything that will come from this. We will come back to talk about it here on the Awakening Platform Consciences. Thank you, therefore, to all and to everyone. I'll come back to you later. It was the voice of your humble servant, the Samouraï, Mr.